All right, so I want to talk about this. Can we please stop asking for this? As a fandom, as a community, can we please just give up on seeing these two iterations of these characters together in a shared film franchise? Like, I don't want to see this. And I honestly don't know any real person who wants to see this. It seems like it's terminally online. And there's a myriad of reasons why this doesn't work. We're going to talk about a few of them in this video, but James Gunn has had to deal with this constantly. I think every day that I log into social media to look for topics, I see someone posting this or talking about this. Here's another person that wants to see the Batman and Superman together. And it's like, what? And James Gunn has shot it down so many times. At a certain point, fam, no means no. Like, it's giving brat. It's giving entitlement. Like, when he tells you, no, we're not going to do it, and gives you, like, legitimate reasons why, and you keep going and going and going, it doesn't make them want to do it. And we've already seen that fan movements online, like, look at the Snyderverse stuff, the Zack Snyder's Justice League stuff. Look at that. It was like a fart in the wind. Like, all that work for it to just fade away. Like, this kind of stuff it's frustrating. And I'm sure that you guys are just as tired of seeing it as I am, unless you're somebody that actually wants this. And then let me know in the comments below. But I've yet to find anybody to give a good reason why these two characters should be put together in the same film universe. Let's start out with the big reason. The big one is Matt Reeves doesn't want the Batman mixed in with all this other metahuman stuff. It's on record. He said it in multiple interviews that his vision of the Batman is a world like a crime drama noir type world where Batman is a street level vigilante fighting against other like street level vigilantes. That is the establishment of the universe that he's created. And so that's what he wants for his films. So if this were to happen, it would require major retconning, because we have the Penguin, the spinoff show, The Penguin. So we've lived in that Gotham for a little bit. We understand how that Gotham feels very realistic. So explain to me how everything we've seen in this James Gunn DCU, Peacemaker, all the stuff we've seen in Creature Commandos, the trailer stuff for Superman, the upcoming Supergirl movie, explain to me how all of that makes any sense existing in the world with the Batman. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. That Gotham would have to be in a bubble by itself, completely detached from the rest of the world, in a weird sort of like North Korea type way. You know what I mean? Like split off from everything. And I don't see that being real, especially when the city is known for crime and moving legal things in and out of that city to other places. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any sense that in that world where we've already seen, James Gunn has said that metahumans and aliens and superpowered people have existed in the DCU for hundreds of years. So that wouldn't make any sense. You'd have to retcon the Batman movie going into the sequel to make it work. So that's the big one. Like, complete tonal change. Not to mention that the spinoff show, The Penguin, getting a second season is that ever going to happen? Probably not. It might be a one and done season because it was supposed to be a bridge between the first movie and the second movie. And now the second movie is in limbo. We never know when that movie's coming out. Which brings me to my next issue with this. We don't know when we're going to get a Batman Part 2. We don't know when that's going to happen. They keep talking about it, but we don't know. It's so inconsistent because it is its own separate thing. To mix that up with the fidelity of what they're doing in the DCU, that cohesion and the pacing and all of that they're trying to get things out in a timely manner, and that everything needs to sort of work together like it does in the MCU. It doesn't make sense to take an Elseworlds project that's who knows when it's going to come out and try and mix it into the DCU. I don't want that. I don't know why any of you guys would want that. That doesn't make any sense to me. The Batman Part 2 could take a while to come out because it's only connected to this universe. So even though people may forget about it, they may move on, there are going to be some loyal people that love this version of Batman that are going to come back and watch this. And it ultimately depends on like how it's promoted and stuff like that. I would not want that baggage in the DCU. I just would not. The next big thing is I think a lot of people have forgotten how different the Batman is from everything we've seen in the DCU. And I'm not talking about subtle differences like in the MCU where you have people living on Earth together and things are a little bit different here and there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a complete tonal detachment. There's no allegoric tones or any cohesive tones between the Batman and Superman. Watch the trailer, the most recent trailer for Superman, and then go back and watch Penguin and the Batman, and tell me if you think those characters could exist in the same world. The answer is no. So there would have to be some sort of compromise. What would have to happen is you would have to neuter one of the two properties to make them work together, or take the identity out of both of them to make them work together. For the simple sake of getting those two characters together in the same screen, you would have to butcher both universes in some way. You would either have to make Batman less street level, less dark and gritty to sort of work with this version of James Gunn's DCU, or you would have to take a lot of the comedy and humor out of the DCU and make it more dark and gritty and street level like Batman. That's the only way those two things would work together. And I could already see people in the comments trying to come up with excuses and reasons why it would work. I'm telling you, look at what happened with Daredevil and She-Hulk. People lost their minds because they took Daredevil out of a dark, gritty, serious show and threw a little bit of humor on him when they stuck him in She-Hulk, because that's the only way they could make it work. They weren't going to turn She-Hulk into a street level, dark, gritty thriller, because that's not what the show was. So when Daredevil came over into that show and they had to neuter Daredevil a little bit, change him up a little bit to make him fit within that world, that is the same thing they would be doing with Superman if Superman crossed over into Batman's world or Batman crossed over into Superman's world. And that would make people mad. So it makes more sense to keep them split off and keep them separate. Lastly, and this is my own personal feelings about this, this is just coming from me, I want to see a more cartoony comic book version of Batman, not modern stuff. I'm talking like back in the day stuff, like the version that went on for years and years and years and years and years, so like 80s Batman, like that vibe. I want to see something like that brought into live action. Something not so similar to every other version of Batman we've had since like Christopher Nolan. Actually, I would even go back and say Tim Burton to a degree after that first movie. So like that era of Batman, the version that we have now, this stoic sort of character, is really just a product of what we've always had in modern times. I want to go back to more of a classic Batman, something that fits in with this DCU, something that is serious tonally, but not dark and gritty and brooding and all of that. If they want to do that with the Batman, they can do that. I want to see something more comic booky in the DCU, and that is the direction that James Gunn seems to be taking the DCU. So for me, it's a no, dog. It's a no. I do not want to see Matt Reeves' Batman mixed with James Gunn's Superman universe. I don't want to see that. I want Matt to be able to make the vision that he wants of Batman in that world, street level, realistic, crime thriller, noir type shit. I want to see him do that. Like that's his thing. And he was promised that. He was promised to be able to do that. So he doesn't want to combine these things together. That's not his vibe. It's not what he wants. So let him have that. Let him have that movie. And I honestly find it hard to believe that fans of that movie would want to see that version of Batman mixed with this James Gunn thing anyway. I find that hard to believe. Let him do that. Give us a different Batman, a different Bat family, very comic booky in the DCU. If the DCU Batman ends up being a palette swap of like Nolan's Batman or Reeves' Batman, then I'm going to call shenanigans, because why even do it then? Why even do it? If you're just going to copy that vibe, why do it? So I'm assuming, this is an assumption, that James Gunn is not combining them together for that reason. He's going to change the vibe of Batman. That's my thoughts on this, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you think, and be honest, even if I don't agree with you, do you think we should be mixing James Gunn's Superman with Matt Reeves' Batman? Do you think we should be doing that? Because I will go on the record saying I don't see a net positive in any way by merging these two versions of these characters together. I just don't see it.